Cassie finds healing and freedom after Diddy's trial, a new chapter focused on family and peace. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I hope you are well. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Cassie, the singer and former partner of Sean Diddy Combs, is finding peace following the conclusion of the trial against the disgraced mogul. A source tells Us Weekly that Cassie feels a deep sense of closure and freedom, with her focus now on her growing family and private life away from the spotlight. Singer and former model Cassie Ventura is reportedly breathing a sigh of relief after the conclusion of the highly publicized trial against her ex-partner Sean Diddy Combs. A close source revealed to Us Weekly that the 38-year-old is feeling a profound sense of freedom now that she has moved beyond the ordeal. Cassie finds peace after long legal battle with Diddy. The insider shared that Cassie is glowing and finally feels free after enduring years of trauma from her tumultuous relationship with the 55-year-old music mogul. The emotional rollercoaster of the trial, which saw her speak out about the alleged physical and sexual abuse she endured over an 11-year period, has come to an end. For Cassie, this marks the final chapter of a deeply painful and challenging part of her life. A new beginning, focused on family and healing. Now that Cassie has closed this painful chapter, the singer is focused on building a happy, private life with her family. After her emotional testimony during the trial, where she spoke of the abuse she suffered from 2007 to 2018, Cassie and her husband, Alex Fine, welcomed their third child, a son. The couple already shared two daughters, Frankie and Sunny, born in 2019 and 2021 respectively. The source emphasized that the addition of a baby brother to their family has brought immense joy, with Cassie's daughters being obsessed with their new sibling. While Cassie had a difficult labor, the insider noted that she feels her family is now complete and is fully embracing her new role as a mother of three. Embracing a private life. In the wake of her legal battle, Cassie has made it clear that she is stepping away from the limelight. She now plans to stay out of the public eye and prioritize her family's well-being. Her new focus is on a private life, away from Hollywood and the chaos that has followed her throughout the legal proceedings. The source continued, Cassie is now fully focused on her future and the life she has built outside of the public chaos. Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, has been a supportive presence throughout this challenging time, with the insider noting that the couple make a great team and that Alex ensures Cassie is in a good headspace. As Cassie embraces motherhood and healing, Diddy's trial continues to unfold, with the jury reaching a verdict on most charges. However, the outcome of the racketeering conspiracy charge remains undecided, and deliberations are set to resume shortly. Jury deliberations resumed Tuesday in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The 12-member panel met for more than 5 hours at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan on Monday without reaching a verdict. On Tuesday, it sent a note to Judge Arun Subramanian asking to review testimony from Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend, and a male escort. It was the 5th such note sent to the judge since the jury began deliberating the sex trafficking case against Combs. Federal prosecutors say that for decades, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women to participate in drug-fueled marathon sexual encounters called freak-offs, and used his business empire, along with guns, kidnapping, and arson, to control his victims. The 55-year-old hip-hop mogul is facing 5 criminal counts: 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs has pleaded not guilty. If convicted, he could face life in prison. The prosecution rested its case after presenting over a month of graphic testimony from nearly 3 dozen witnesses. The defense rested without calling anyone, including Combs, to the witness stand. The defendant used power, violence, and fear to get what he wanted: Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic said during last week's closing arguments. It's time to hold him accountable. It's time for justice. And it's time to find him guilty. Mark Agnifilo, Combs's lead defense attorney, argued that Combs is a swinger and a drug abuser guilty of past domestic violence, but not the leader of a criminal enterprise, as prosecutors have portrayed him. He did not do the things he's charged with, Agnifilo told jurors. He did what he did, but he's going to fight to the death to defend himself from what he didn't do. Follow the live blog below for the latest updates culled from various reporters and news organizations in the courtroom, including ABC News, CNN, NBC News, and the USA Today. Judge Arun Subramanian ordered that transcripts of testimony from Combs's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, and Daniel Phillip, a male escort, be sent to the jury. After a lengthy discussion with lawyers from both sides, Subramanian also said the jury will get the transcripts for Ventura's testimony about the days before and after the March 5, 2016, assault at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, as well as a transcript of Ventura's testimony regarding her 2024 Instagram post in response to the release of the surveillance video. In the post, she described the assault as domestic violence. Prosecutors objected to the inclusion of her testimony about the Instagram post, but Subramanian sided with the defense, which wanted it sent to the jury. In its latest note to the judge, the jury is asking for transcripts of testimony from Combs's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, and Daniel Phillip, a male escort. Specifically, the jury wants to review Ventura's testimony about the 2016 assault at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, which was caught on surveillance video, her flight back from the Cannes Film Festival with Combs, during which she said he played freak-off videos and threatened to release them, and what she told the court, if anything, about the freak-offs she took part in with Phillip. The panel also wants to review Phillip's testimony about a freak-off he and Ventura had at the Essex Hotel in New York. Phillip told the court that he witnessed Ventura slumped over. Lawyers for both sides are now reviewing the transcripts to identify the corresponding excerpts so Judge Arun Subramanian can provide them to the jury. Jury sends note asking for transcripts of 2 witnesses. The jury has sent another note to the judge asking for transcripts of testimony from 2 witnesses, Cassie Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend, and Daniel Phillip, a male escort who testified he was paid to have sex with Ventura. It is the 5th note sent to the judge by the jury since deliberations began Monday. Such a request for transcripts is not unusual. The prosecution called 34 witnesses to testify over the course of 6 weeks. Janice Combs, Sean Diddy Combs' mother, has been a constant presence at her son's trial. She arrived at the courthouse early Tuesday for the 2nd day of deliberations. Inside the courtroom, the defendant spoke briefly to his mom, who was seated in the gallery before returning to his holding cell. "Just relax, it's going to be all right," he said, according to a CNN report, adding that he loved her outfit. Judge Arun Subramanian discussed with the prosecution and defense attorneys how to answer the jury's question about whether giving drugs to someone who asked for them qualifies as distributing controlled substances. Subramanian sent a note to the jury saying, "In response to the jury's question, the court refers the jury to page 37, lines 1 through 3 of its jury charge, or jury instructions." Subramanian quoted the lines he's referencing in the jury charge in his response letter. The word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver, to pass over, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require a sale. 3. Judge Arun Subramanian is now on the bench. One of the notes the jury sent to Subramanian yesterday included a question about what qualifies as distribution of controlled substances. Subramanian said he would answer the jury's question this morning. The jury sent 2 more notes to Judge Arun Subramanian while deliberating Monday afternoon. Subramanian, who returned to the bench to read the notes, said that the first was a question, which he said he would answer tomorrow. The second was a note informing the court that the jury plans to end deliberations today at 5 p.m. ET. Earlier this afternoon, the jury sent the judge a note expressing concern that one of the jurors wasn't able to follow the judge's instructions on deliberations. After receiving a note from the jury saying it is concerned that one member of the panel can't follow his instructions, Judge Arun Subramanian sent the following reply. I received your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and their obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. Subramanian also instructed jurors not to reveal any specifics about their deliberations in any future notes they send to the court. Just an hour into its deliberations, the jury sent a note to Judge Arun Subramanian saying it's concerned that one member of the panel can't follow his instructions. We have a juror. No. 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your Honour's instructions, read the note signed by the foreperson, who asked Subramanian to address the situation. The judge told lawyers for both sides to confer until 2 p.m. ET, when he will return to the bench to determine a response. Ian, juror number 5 selected as foreperson. Shortly after beginning its deliberations, the jury sent a note to Judge Arun Subramanian informing the court that it has selected juror number 5 to be its foreperson. The foreperson serves as a chairperson or head juror, tasked with facilitating discussions during deliberations, signing any written note that the panel sends to the court and answering when asked by the judge if the jury has reached a verdict. Before court was adjourned for deliberations, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked Judge Arun Subramanian if Combs could take books back to his holding cell while he awaits the verdict. Subramanian granted the request. Throughout the trial, Combs has been seen in court holding a copy of The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acker, which is described by its publisher as an engaging, deeply researched guide to flourishing in a world of increasing stress and negativity. After the jury left the courtroom to begin deliberations, Judge Arun Subramanian commended the attorneys for both the prosecution and defense for what he called great lawyering. The case was really exceptionally tried by both sides in this case, he said. After receiving nearly 2 hours of instructions from Judge Arun Subramanian, jurors have begun deliberating behind closed doors. The jury was provided with a laptop loaded with all of the exhibits shown in court during the 6-week trial, including text messages, photographs, and videos of the sexual encounters at the heart of the case. There is no timetable for a decision. Subramanian told the 12-member panel made up of 8 men and 4 women that they can choose how long to deliberate each day and to send a note to notify the court when they've reached a verdict. Judge Arun Subramanian is reading aloud lengthy instructions to the jury on how the law applies to each of the charges. Combs is facing 5 criminal counts. Here is a rough breakdown of those counts and the maximum sentence he's facing for each. Combs has been charged with sex trafficking 2 former girlfriends, Cassie Ventura, and a woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane. Prosecutors allege Combs forced them to participate in the marathon sexual encounters with male escorts, which amounted to commercial sex acts. Combs has been accused of conspiring with others to conduct and participate in the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. Prosecutors allege that Combs conspired with members of his business empire, including assistants and bodyguards, to commit crimes. To convict, the jury must find that Combs agreed with at least one other member of the alleged criminal enterprise to commit 2 of 8 underlying crimes within 10 years of each other. In addition to Combs's family members, including his mother and 5 of his children, members of the mogul's defense team were seen arriving early at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo, carrying a brown messenger bag, waved off questions from reporters as he walked in. After receiving the instructions from Judge Arun Subramanian, the 12 jurors will meet to deliberate the case. The jury, which is made up of 8 men and 4 women, must unanimously decide whether Combs is guilty or not guilty on each of the 5 counts he's charged with. If the jurors cannot unanimously agree on one or all of the counts, they are encouraged to continue deliberating. However, if it seems nearly impossible for the group to agree, which is called a hung jury, it goes back to Subramanian, who has to decide whether to declare a mistrial. Sean Combs's sons, Quincy and Christian, and his eldest daughters Jessie, Chance and Delilah, arrived at the Manhattan courthouse this morning, alongside Combs's mom, Janice. Christian, 27, released a song under his rapper name King Combs with Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, on Friday called Diddy Free. It features a chorus with the lyrics "Ain't goin' sleep till we see Diddy free." Judge Arun Subramanian will be giving the jury instructions before it begins deliberations. The pre-scripted instructions for the jury are expected to take over an hour for Subramanian to read. Last week, Subramanian said the jury will determine its own schedule for the deliberations. After defense attorney Mark Agnifilo wrapped up his 4-hour closing argument on Friday, Subramanian told the legal teams he was going to emphasize to the jury that its focus should be on whether the prosecution actually proved each charge with evidence. Last week, the jurors heard lengthy closing arguments by the prosecution and the defense teams. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic argued in her closing argument on Thursday. Combs was the leader of a criminal enterprise who forced former girlfriends like Cassie Ventura and Jane to participate in drug-fueled sex marathons with escorts called freak-offs and hotel nights. Slavic revisited Ventura and Jane's testimonies for the jury, where they both claimed to be victims of physical and sexual abuse. "It is time to hold him accountable. It is time for justice," Slavic said. "And it's time to find him guilty." Combs's lead defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, presented the defense's closing argument on Friday, arguing the government's charges against Combs were inaccurate. While Combs personally used drugs and was guilty of domestic violence, he was not the leader of a criminal enterprise, nor did he do the things he's charged with. Ventura and Jane were part of a swingers lifestyle, which is why they participated in the freak-offs. "He sits there innocent," Agnifilo said. "Return him to his family who have been waiting for him."